First thing you want to take is the big picture. I think Dog just did that with the Red Sox. No longer can you thumb your nose at the Red Sox about this. Now, the Red Sox haven't won their World Series. They have to go do that. That's up to them. But that's a different deal. This is about the Yankees. The Yankee perspective on this first. I'm giving you that, and we'll get to the Red Sox. Because the Red Sox, they are going to chronicle this as one of the great moments in sports history. It's going to be one of the great comebacks and one of the great stories ever in postseason history, and they're right about that. It was that big. It was played out with that much tension, that much pressure. This built up all year. Remember, this is a 2-year thing that culminated last night. It has been a 2-year war with the Red Sox. It's gone on from day one for 2 years. And for them under that scrutiny and that pressure, and they were getting destroyed on Sunday morning. They were getting beat. They were getting beat to a pulp on Sunday morning. And you know what? If you looked around there, you looked around that stadium that night, 9th inning, Game 4, they thought they were dead. Why wouldn't you think they were dead?
19-8, my God. Oh, you're talking about the next day.
Yeah, the next day they thought, we're going home. But you know what? They didn't go home. And then they got stronger from there. But the point of this is, there is a Yankee perspective to this, and the Yankee perspective to this is, here is this team built to win championships. That is no longer has any connection. The book is closed. They no longer have any connection. And it's going to get worse and worse because guys who have been the staple of that, such as Rivera, who right now may be ready to hand off the mantle to this kid Lidge as the next great closer. I mean, he's already had a decade of it. You can't expect him to go forever.
I agree.
Okay? And Bernie Williams, who is winding down. And again, they try to bury Bernie Williams, and he probably was as consistent as any Yankee again in this series.
Absolutely.
And his guy you want up in the big spot every single time.
Absolutely.
And you know what? He's winding down. So the guys who are the remnants of that run, and Jeter made that point last night, Dog, and he did it with a little fire in his eyes when he said, don't be comparing those teams to these teams. There's no relationship. And he's right. It's now 4 years removed from a championship, and that group has whittled down to 4 and will whittle down from there. Soon, it will just be Posada and Jeter. Eventually, that's what you'll be left with for a while. And that's it from that core. And this group has not gotten the right mix. But what happened here is different. You're talking about the Yankees, the proud Yankees, the way they're built, the money, the whole thing, everything that makes the Yankees the Yankees. For them to collapse on the grand stage, and right now the Red Sox-Yankee stage is even bigger than the World Series. It is. It's bigger. It's watched by more people. More people care about it. The city cares about it more. To have them collapse at this level, on that stage, when they are 3 outs away, 3 games up and 3 outs away, and lose the series, is, without question, the greatest postseason collapse in the history of sports. That's a lot.
Hey, you want to look at it this way? When you're in enough of these situations, sooner or later you're going to have something bad happen to you.
Not like this.
It's funny about the Yankees. They have so much good history that we all have to hear who hate the Yankees, whether it's the trade, whether it's DiMaggio, whether whoever it might be, Garrick and Mattingly, whoever it might be. For once, the Yankee hater, the crack committee, now has something that will stick to the Yankees that's bad forever.
Absolutely.
And that is something that has not happened to the Yankees. Mike gave you these situations about the World Series. Games happen. They haven't had anything like this. They haven't had anything historic happen to them badly. Now they have. Yeah,
in their whole history, Doug, they have had bad losses. 26 World Series to a team they were a 5-1 favorite over. They lost to Grover Cleveland Alexander. It happens. Babe Ruth lost that series. Mantle the 60 World Series. They won the 3 games by 90 runs and lost 4 squeakers and lost the series. Worst loss of his life. That happens. It happens. But this is different. This is an utter collapse. This is one that will reverberate. Now, we'll get to all the different things in the days to come. You know Steinbrenner is going to do something, who knows what. He doesn't really have a lot of options, which we'll get to. But this one, as Dog said, will stick to the ribs. This is one that will follow this franchise. This is a big blemish because this is the ultimate winning machine. And for it to collapse this way is a big deal. You can't minimize it. This is a black mark on Yankee history.
All right, CBS 880 and EEI on the beginning with the montage. Very, very good. Mink's got our update at 1:20. Sports Radio 66.
WFAN 2020. And Chris, the Yankees are back at the stadium today, but they are cleaning out their lockers after the loss last night to the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox on their way to the World Series. It'll be Roger Clemens' fourth career start in a Game 7. He's 1-0 in those outings. Jeff Supan pitches for the Cardinals. It is Game 7 of the NLCS. The Cardinals and the Astros. The game in St. Louis tonight. And, of course, the winner moves on to the World Series against Boston. Willie Randolph gets his chance to interview for the Mets managerial job. That interview will take place on Monday. New Jersey Nets extend the contract of general manager Rod Thorne for 5 years. This report brought to you by the Breeders' Cup World Thoroughbred Championships, and get in on the best bet in sports on Saturday, October 30th. Simulcast live at your local simulcast facility. Post time 12:40 p.m. Go, baby, go. With reports every 20 minutes. This is John Minko, WFAN 2020 Sports.
Give Dog credit as we get to the game first, and then we'll get to your calls. We promise. We promise we'll give you plenty of time, Red Sox fans and disgruntled Met fans and unhappy Yankee fans, to get in. Dog made a good call yesterday. He said, watch for a breakout from Johnny Damon. Boy, did he explode last night.
Sooner or later. I tell you, though, Mike, again, we've chronicled Torrey, and we like Joe. We love Joe. You can't knock Joe. He's got 4 championships. He handled himself gracefully, as usual, last night.
Joe's been great. But he had a rough series.
Oh, Joe was terrible.
He had a rough series.
Joe was lost. He did. First off, I got one thing. Mike will take care of the other. The guy can't walk. You have Sierra sitting there. You got Pedro in a little trouble. You can't let Olerud get in at bat in that situation. Hasn't hit a ball in 5 days. The guy can't move. I know Clark's been inept. You got Sierra sitting there.
Put him in.
Keep the inning rolling.
Now, who's going to play first? You put Cairo at first. You put Enrique Wilson at second.
You worry about that in the top of the inning.
The only chance you had there was with a little momentum. He's going to give Pedro a couple more because he doesn't want to embarrass him. He's going to try and let Pedro get through the inning, so he doesn't want to have to go get him. Now, eventually he would have. But if you could have rotated that batting order back to Jeter with a couple of men on base, you might have had a little fun that inning. That was a critical at-bat in the game for the Yankees. The only critical one they had was the Olerud at-bat because they needed to keep the momentum right there. Right there. Well, Posada, yeah, he didn't
but that's a bad.
But I mean, they needed to rotate and get a couple of men to the base paths for Jeter, and maybe Jeter get a base hit and get things going at the top of the order. But that was a critical at bat. That's a lot to ask Olerud to limp up there and face Pedro Martinez.
It's 8-3 men on second, 1 out. I mean, Sierra's got to get in the.
They get another run in there. They're going to put a little fear at least into the Red Sox.
Absolutely, and get the tying run to the plate. Maybe that's a.
I told Dog that inning. I thought they had to score at least 3 runs.
Yeah, another run.
And let me just take 2 things, Doug.
So that's the thing that Joe did. I didn't like last night in the 7th inning.
I didn't like that. I had 2 other things with Joe that I didn't understand, and we probably won't talk to him until tomorrow. Number 1, and it's a pet peeve of mine, I've mentioned it many times on the air. In these games, I have no problem with starters pitching, but you cannot put starter in reliever roles, which means I don't like him in the setup spot in the 8th inning. Once you're there, I want to go to bullpen guys who understand that. Number 2, I don't think you want to bring him in when the bases are loaded. Vasquez has been awful all year. I'm not making him any excuses for him, but I would have used a reliever at that spot for Brown only because it's very unfair to bring a starter in with the bases loaded. He does it. That's not the way his mentality works. It's not the way he works. Johnny Damon says, you know what, I'm going to jump on this pitch, boom, and good night. And, he's trying to get ahead. He's had control problems to begin with. Damon's hit him well anyway, and Damon's sitting on his first pitch. I would not have brought Vasquez in there. Let him start an inning. I like starters to start innings. Even if it's 3rd, 4th inning, I don't have a problem with a starter. I would have burnt one of my relievers there to try and get out of the inning.
I could have even lived with Heredia in that spot. You try him there, but Sturts is the guy. You can't bring a Gordon or Mariano in.
You got to burn him.
You got to
get out of the inning because otherwise you're in big trouble. They needed to say they could not get burnt. I said to Julio sitting next to me, I said, I'll take 4-0 right now. It's signed for 4-0.
Yeah, it was 2-0 at the time.
I said I'll sign for 4-0. Base loaded, no out, sign for 4-0.
Yeah, absolutely.
1 out, rather. It's base loaded, 1 out, sign for 4-0.
Yeah, it was 1 out?
One out.
One out, yeah. And
I'll sign for 4-0.
You just can't, in that situation, you cannot. I agree with you. And Vasquez started the third inning in Fenway. He started the inning there. He didn't come in the middle of it.
Right.
Started the bottom of the third in Game 3. I agree with Mike 100%. That's a very tough spot for Vasquez.
I have one other one, which I didn't understand.